Welcome, everyone. This is episode 38 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. I'm Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
We got some pretty interesting topics today. I'm actually really excited about this. So Kyle's been doing some digging of like upcoming rules changes for paddles, how that's going to be regulated and measured, and how paddles can get approved. He said, I'll let you dig into it, but he found some really interesting and fun stuff there. And then we'll do some hot topics, some fun news. There is a couple of really interesting items from this week from the PPA or MLP, I guess.
Yeah, and APP
that we definitely have some opinions on.
Yep.
And I think you guys will be interested in those. And then we'll finish with talking about my latest review of Paddletek. This is a kind of a fun one because they are achieving power in such a different way.
Yeah.
And anyways, we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about upcoming stuff I'm testing. And then you got a ton of paddles in recently.
I did get a lot of paddles.
So we'll kind of
schedule out what I'm going to do in which order.
Dude, it's hard, huh?
So it is. It's absolutely
because
hard.
like you want to give each paddle enough time.
Mm-hmm. I want to give everybody a fair shake. So
right, yeah. It's I still don't know the perfect formula for that, but you'll figure it out. But yeah, we'll see what you got. But yeah, just for some water cooler stuff before we jump in. So this, like 2-3 days ago, I'm chatting with Dell at 6-0. He's going to be at the Dallas PPA, just hanging out, visiting some people, and doing some stuff here in the States. So he's from Australia. His brand is it's where he lives, where he started his brand. And anyway, so he's coming to Dallas, and he asked if I was going to be able to make it. He wanted to meet just to hang out, chat, and we've been interfacing. We've had video calls and emails and whatnot for a while, but it'd be fun to meet in person. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, so I messaged the other guys, Chris, Will, and Q, and just kind of last minute, like Will was already going, and we're like, you know what, let's just do this. Nice. Let's just all go. And so Chris and I are playing in 5-0 together.
Fun. And
so I think he's done a 5-0 tournament before.
Well, he just won 4-5, right?
Yeah, so he just won 4-5, and he's like, I got to do 5-0, or people are going to be like giving me crap about winning a 4-5 and not moving up.
Exactly.
But I'm really looking forward to it. I've been in a little bit of a slump, I feel like, in the last couple of months, but I think part of it is just like I'm trying to make changes to my game. I'm trying to be more offensive, trying to add stuff, and I've been experimenting. And now, the other day, I'm like, okay, let's dial it back. Let's kind of find a happy medium. And I'm starting to find some of my stuff again, and I'm starting to drill more. I don't drill as much into the winter.
No, I don't either. Well, because I feel like your chances to play are a little less. So it's like you play when you can play. Yeah,
that's kind of, for whatever reason, I don't drill as much in the winter. And so during the summers, I probably drill at least once or twice a week. It's a much higher ratio between drilling and playing. But like during the winter, I just play a lot.
Yeah.
But anyways, getting back into that, excited about that. But yeah, so I'll be in Dallas. This is the end of this month. Like this is like 2 weeks away.
I know. Yeah, he messaged me. He's like, hey, you want to go? I'm like, yeah, I can't. Not on that kind of timeline.
Kind of like a real job and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I wish you could have came.
I would love to come, but I need a little more notice than a week and a half.
The flights were expensive. Oh. It's not a cheap one. I'm just playing the one event. I was originally going to play singles and doubles with Chris. Now I'm just doing doubles. So I double booked that weekend. So that's the same weekend as Heroes.
Okay.
And I was just talking with those guys. We're like making plans and stuff, and like we're all booking flights. We found like an Airbnb, and I was like, oh crap.
So you had to bail on Heroes?
This is Heroes, and I'm playing Heroes Friday.
Okay.
With Abe.
Is that the Open on Friday?
That's the Open on Friday. And then I'm flying out that night to Dallas and playing Saturday.
Professional pickleball player.
And anyway, so it's going to be kind of a crazy weekend, but it'll be fun. It'll be worth it. But yeah, looking forward to Dallas. So yeah, come say hi to me if you'll be in Dallas. All of us will be there. So yeah, come find me, Q, Chris, Will, and Dell. Dell will be there from 6-0. And then 6-0 just came out with a new paddle, or coming out with a new one called the Triple Double Black Diamond. This is the Pickleball Will collaboration.
I saw the Willinator.
The Willinator.
I saw that.
I need to dig into the specs. I haven't read up too much on it. I just got it yesterday.
I saw your video. I was digging I actually like the carbon just because I come from the 18K. So I'm like, ooh, like the cube.
It's got the cube 3D thing that Diadem's doing. Yeah, I don't know if it's it looks a little different.
It looks a little different.
But same idea, I think.
Same vibe. I like it.
And then you were in Seattle this week.
I was last week.
Last week
during your podcast.
During my podcast, dude, I needed you. I needed a hug.
I don't think you needed me because I would have cried, and then we'd have just been crying together. But
yeah,
it was cool though. Very cool podcast.
I was gonna bring that up, even if you were here. And yeah, I don't know.
I cry very easily.
Who knows how I would do it? I can't help it. Every time he comes up, it just not ashamed. It happens. Yeah, how was Seattle?
Seattle was good. No pickleball. Just went out and saw the family, hang out in the mountains, took some pictures, hiked around with the kids, brought our new dog. So dogs ran around. It was cool.
What dog you got?
So he's a mutt, but he looks like he's part Rottweiler, possibly part Border Collie.
I don't know my dogs.
His name's Rocky. He's wild. And then we went to the aquarium in Seattle, and that was cool. They have like an octopus and stuff, and my kids loved it.
Nice.
So yeah, it was cool.
Very cool. Yeah, it was probably nice to get a little break from pickle sometimes.
Yeah, I'll probably play better this week.
You might. Yeah, sometimes if I take like a break for like a week or something, I play really good when I come back.
100%. I feel that. And I actually, the other day, I had if you go check my duper, I took a terrible hit to my duper because I played at like 5 a.m. in a duper day, and I was just off. It was so bad, and I just played down. I feel like when I play with better players, I actually play better than when I play with, lower rated players. I feel like I sometimes play to their level instead of playing the way I can.
No, that's definitely a thing. So. And like I've talked about this before, but like, yeah, when you play with like different levels, like sometimes when you play with lower rated players, it's like a little more erratic.
Yeah, exactly. I would say it's not predictable.
It's a little less predictable, which can make it more challenging. And it can throw you if you need like really strong volleys and like reactions because you get some weird stuff.
No, people are just speeding up balls that you were like, why'd you speed that up? But it like hits you in the shoulder because you're like, like nobody else would speed that ball up.
Yeah, once you get used to it, then you can start squashing them. But like the first like half, you're like Yeah, my dupers took a hit. I was at like 5-1 before, and now I'm 4-8. So I gotta get the back up. We'll have to. I haven't done any.
We have people waving at us through the window. They just left. It was Susanna Barr and Dominic.
Yeah, I've actually never done. I did one little duper event thing here, but they do them pretty regularly now. Like
every
weekly?
Tuesday and Friday.
Just early mornings.
Early morning, you got to bring a partner. I'd come with you and we could just smash everybody.
Dude, we should. Well, let's go do a duper bump day.
We should.
Is that like organized or is that just through players?
So the players started it and then the club adopted it. So it's now officially a club thing. But originally it was just like we wanted to play duper matches because nobody was getting any duper matches. So they set it up. It runs through Swish. I don't know if you use Swish much, but it automatically updates to duper, which is kind of convenient.
Oh, Swish is like connected to duper?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's all integrated, so it's pretty cool.
Then is it just you have to be like it's like 4.0 plus, 4.5 plus?
So they let anybody in. Everybody's above 3.5, and then they split it into pools so it's closer in because they don't want it to be like this. All the good players just crushing little players, so they split it into pools. So basically, like 4.0 plus would be in a pool and 4.0 below be in a pool, stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do it one of these days. We'll see how it goes. All right, dude. But yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to you here. You're gonna drive this first a little bit. Yeah, tell us about like some of the investigations you've been doing.
We'll start with the ref recording. So I got a hold of some ref meetings that were discussing just a few new tests that were coming out to address some of these power paddles.
So like backing up a little bit though, like for context, I guess the ref community, like the professional ref community, gets together on a weekly basis.
Yeah, it has Zoom meetings. Yeah, and they talk about it, and it's not always paddle related. Sometimes it's like rule related, like the carry rule, stuff like that. They have meetings to discuss basically the nuances of the new rules that come out or rules that could be coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, and these are recorded. They're public. We're not like hacking something.
No, not hacking something. I don't know how public they are, but they're out there if you look hard enough.
The one I listened to,
he says it on there.
He mentioned that they're public and available, and they're not like afraid for people to see.
Yeah, what they say.
But they had a guy from USAP. His name was Carl.
Carl. I don't know his last name.
Yeah, I didn't catch his last name.
Real smart guy though.
Super smart. Yeah, really talks really well. Yeah, I'm not actually. I didn't catch like what his role is.
I don't know what his role is either. I don't know the leadership. I don't know the chain of command of USAP.
Yeah, me neither.
So, like to me, they're just like this weird entity that's like, here's the rules.
Yeah, but he's obviously very involved with the
equipment side.
Side of things. Yeah, he was really sharp. And anyways, keep going.
So, couple of tests that are coming down the pipeline is what they talked about. An interesting one for surface roughness. They're talking about going away from the starret test and to a 3D optical scan. They don't really dive into too much how that test is actually going to work, but somehow it's going to scan your paddle, and that's going to, at the test, not on site. Like, this is to be approved. So manufacturers would ship it to them. This test will be used there, and they'll scan the paddle for roughness. So it's going to do it that way versus the starret test, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then the test to address power paddles.
So before we jump to that, so I listened to, you sent me the recording. I listened to it this morning while I was working out. And one interesting thing in addition to what you said about the roughness test. So there's been companies that, or I guess the way they measure is so they get like the roughness level in like 6 different angles.
Exactly. Yep.
And the number, I forget like the measurements, like RTs or something. So there has to be, the current rules has to be an average of about 40.
40, yeah.
So theoretically, you could have one angle be 60 and the other, a different angle be 40 or some.
Are you diving into where like it's it's rough one way and less the other?
Yeah, theoretically, one way is super rough, the other way is not as rough, and the average is out to be legal. And according to the rules, that was fine.
100%.
And so like Pro XR, I think was the first one to kind of game that a little bit. Like, I don't think that's wrong. I think they were just playing within the rules.
Exactly. That's playing within the rules.
But they are they did find that gives you an advantage spin wise, and so they are changing the rules where it has to be no one angle can be more than it's like 40 something, and so you won't be able to game the system like that anymore. And so I didn't catch if they put that in place immediately or if that's going to be in place, but that is a change that is made or going to be made here shortly.
So you're saying even with the regular roughness test, no angle is going to be...
Yeah, no angle can exceed, it was like 40 something.
I wonder if that's already in place then, because they were saying that optical scan is coming soon. So I don't know if that's going to be in conjunction or if maybe that'll be the field test. They'll just stick with the starret.
Yeah, I mean, as far as how they measure it, whether it's the 3D or the starret, then it's the same idea, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's getting the same measurements. I think the 3D is just a little more comprehensive. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I thought that was interesting to note. So like right now, like I get the feeling that it's not in place yet because like there's been a couple of paddles I've gotten recently. One was like the Spartus Apollo, which is like insanely gritty. You got that one too.
Yeah, it stuck to my shirt.
Yeah, that was, and then like we're seeing a bunch of videos of other paddles sticking to your shirt, and I wonder if like, oh man, are they doing the gaming way?
Maybe, and then like it's just gritty enough that like when it's like going down on your shirt, that's the direction.
Something like that. So. But anyways, they are kind of cracking down on that rule with the spin. I thought that was interesting.
And then they discussed a little bit the coefficient of restitution test, which is basically going to be our exit velocity test. And I guess somebody on Chris's Discord actually told me that this test is already used for golf drivers. Like this is how like golf uses this test.
Oh, cool.
So this test has been around a long time. In that meeting, they discussed a little bit that it's going to be kind of like a radar co-witnessed with a camera. Yeah. So they didn't discuss much of it. So I don't know how it's exactly going to work.
I think they're shortening this to CORE, COR. So if you heard the term CORE testing, that's in reference to the coefficient restitution, aka exit velocity test. And yeah, I think they were shooting for Q3 to release this.
Q3.
So they've been on the ball here since the gearboxes came out in December. Is that the gearboxes came out, kind of rocked the boat.
Yep.
And then they started like gathering data and figuring this out and looking into this.
But now with the Yola and the new Vatic launch, they even said in the meeting we're pushing to get this way quicker because we want to prevent an arms race of power paddles. Yeah. So they want to kind of define where that line of power is now and set it in the sand. So
yeah, and I thought it was interesting that like Carl mentioned that like the brands are lobbying for this to be rolled out slower. Mm-hmm. And like so you know that there's pressure from the brands. Like they're working with the brands on this. This isn't just like confined within USAP. And so because you have the influence of the brands, that changes the timeline. There's a lot of pressure. And
did you catch the part in the meeting? In this part, I'm not sure how I feel about this. They said they're going to run the tests, the Yola paddle and the gearbox, and they're probably that scatter plot's going to fall outside of what they deem as being appropriate. But the line the official line is they're going to take into account stakeholders and manufacturers where the line actually gets determined.
Yeah. So the scatter plot you just mentioned, the way they've been gathering data since December. So they said, okay, these paddles are hot. We need to go figure out what the limit should be. So they took paddles. There's a ton of them that have existed, hundreds.
Yeah.
They went and did this core test. I'm assuming it was this core test at least. And they created a scatter plot of like, okay, these are the power levels of these paddles. And we're just starting to get these other ones that are hotter. We expect these to be like outliers.
Yep, exactly.
And he's like, yeah, to your point, he's like, these are probably going to be outside our line.
Yeah.
But then to your point, yeah, okay, now we have this pressure from other people. It's not just them making the decision, which it should just be them making the decision.
That's how I feel.
Right?
Like they should be like they should have they should be 100% transparent. And I think if brands influence where that line is drawn, we should know that. But they shouldn't be any pressure from brands. Like being the governing body, it should be like they decide the rules.
Yeah, you're the governing body.
And we play to their rules.
Yeah, exactly. And I sometimes we'll hear people kind of discredit USAP, say that, oh, they don't know what they're doing. It's just a crap shoot over there. They're proving anything and everything to make money. But this call made me kind of respect them a little more. Like
little bit.
They are being very intentional. Like Carl mentioned that as part of this like scatter plot and data building phase, they are watching video and paying attention to how quick the ball comes to you when you're at the net to make sure that you have like actual enough reaction time.
Yeah, they were saying, they were talking about like eventually it's going to exceed human reaction time. That's what you don't want to get that fast.
Right. And so they are looking into factors like that, which needs to be considered. Right. And so like, I do think they're approaching this in a data-driven, like smart way. I did have a little more confidence in them after listening to this call. I don't know.
No, they're smart. They're definitely smarter. I know that's kind of rude, but I was like,
why do they have this reputation of being not smart?
Probably because we see. I don't know. I've seen some pretty bad line judging from USAP refs. I was like at APP, like, and they stationed line judges at each, and like, I would rather you make your own call than some of those judges. Like it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's that stuff, and then like I don't know, they're not like I don't consume content from them really. Like they have their rule books and stuff that I've looked at, but yeah, like you don't really see into them. Like you just hear other like podcasts. You hear like the information we're getting are people that are kind of like bashing on them a little bit, and so we're only consuming information from like one side, and we never really hear their side as often.
So we think they need to start they need their own podcast.
They need their own podcast.
USAP podcast. I would probably watch that. I'm a big
They need
nerd,
to start like defending themselves.
I like that. Also with those tests, there's going to be demos of that test. May 20th, there's a big pickleball industry meeting. It's in person. There's also Zoom invites, but it's from manufacturers. And they're actually going to, there's other stuff on the agenda, but one of the things is the core demo test. I was able to secure a invite to that, so I'll be watching.
As a consultant for a brand. That's happening on the 20th. I may have to come consult the consultant on that day.
That works.
Are you just going to watch it at your office?
Oh yeah, I'll be watching that while I'm working.
Is there room for me?
So yeah, I'll just send you the link too. I'm sure it's just an open Zoom link.
I kind of want to.
I don't know though, because in the name on there, like, do we just put like brand consultant and you put brand consultant number 2?
I kind of want like live reactions with you. Like we may have to film ourselves.
Yes. I would like that.
Yeah, May 20th. That's actually, I'm very interested in that.
Yeah.
They're I assume that they're saying this would be like the new rules. This is how we're going to do it. This is the new playing field.
Yeah. So, and I like that. It's going to show all the manufacturers straight up. This is how we're going to test your paddles. So, I mean, at least they're being transparent there.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like more than brands care about that stuff. Like we care.
Yeah. I think this is like, especially right now, like this is such a hot topic. I think a lot of people are interested.
All right. And last thing about the rules, and a little controversial, I want your guys' opinion. The owl paddle. So it failed deflection. Obviously, it's got like felt on it,
which is like a squishier material, right? Like deflection measures like the stiffness.
Exactly. Like they push on a point and it can't like exceed X amount. I'd have to look up the actual, but it can't like dip a certain amount.
Right.
Like compress.
And like
it's basically a compression test.
They made they made it softer to make it quieter.
Yeah.
Like that's why
it's felt, it's soft. So it obviously was going to fail deflection. but it passed for the quiet category. They wanted to be passed for the
competitive,
for the tournament use. And USAP used the new core test to actually pass the paddle. I don't know how I feel about this because that paddle that test isn't in place for other paddles. So I feel like until that test is like the standard, it's a little shady to me to use a test that's not in place to pass a paddle. What do you guys think? I really do want to hear all your guys' thoughts in the comments on this one. What do you think? How do you feel?
I'm on board with you, dude. Like, that's not fair. I've actually never hit one.
Me neither.
But so Pickleball Journey, if you guys don't follow them, they do a lot of like YouTube instructional stuff, but they also have like a paddle database for some reason.
I'm not making one. You guys already have plenty of paddles.
but they do like spin and power tests, and like their spin numbers and power numbers were actually pretty high on it. And
yeah, it was almost 2,400 RPM. It was 23 something.
Yeah, they get higher spin and power numbers than I do in general, but even for them, these were higher recordings. And so it's like, oh, maybe this actually does have an advantage.
Yeah, after seeing that guy's numbers, I kind of want to hit one.
I'm curious how it passed the spin test.
Coefficient of friction.
Yeah, I heard that it would.
Well, I've heard rumors that there's other paddles that failed that by 4 times that are still
so that
in regulation. So
there's all sorts of fishy stuff. And like when the owl paddle came out, they made like posts. Like USAP made like a post like, oh, we're so excited to
first quiet paddle.
Yep. Like they were obviously very involved in the process. And I wonder if they have like some stake in the paddle and like, oh, maybe it wasn't doing as well as they were hoping, like sales wise, and they're like trying to get this thing passed for tournaments.
Well, no, that's a big thing. If it was passed to be a quiet paddle, you can use it in rec play, but you can't use it in tournament. That's going to hurt your sales. Like if I know I can't use that paddle anywhere, why would I buy it?
Yeah.
It's just like when the Vice came out, like, and I was a Diadem rep, like selling the Vice was hard, even though it was a concept paddle only supposed to be used in rec play, but not a lot of people want a paddle that they can't use in a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, people want to follow the rules. They don't. No. And so, yeah, I do wonder if there's like some lobbying going on there, like a lot of fishy stuff around that paddle. I should just go buy one. I need to be able to
we'll go halvesies.
Go speak to it.
I don't know, what do they cost? Are they expensive? I haven't even looked.
I don't know. I think it was a couple $100 or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean,
that's not that.
I'll go buy one after this. But this was also another interesting thing from that call. I picked up on. So they talked about skins.
Okay.
With Carl.
Yep.
And
they discussed the reload a little bit.
Yeah, well, I do want to
get into that too.
I want to get into that. But so yeah, there's a couple things on skins from this call that were interesting. One, he mentioned that there were developments in place for skins to be used as like a dampening piece. So that the purpose of the skin isn't necessarily to add more spin, it's just to make it quieter. So if you're playing in a neighborhood or somewhere that has some sort of regulation,
sound rules, you slap it on.
Yeah, so you just slap it on and then that'll make the paddle quieter, which I think is kind of cool.
That is cool.
And then when you're playing in tournaments or normal stuff, you just
rip it off and send
so
those decibels up.
I thought that was a clever use of skins that I didn't consider, other than just replacing the grip. But yeah, he did talk about skins and how they had to alter the rules a little bit around the like removable parts in order to approve this. And they talked about how reload. So that there's 2 companies right now that are pushing this skins game. So you have Pickle, Pikkl. They have a product in market you can go buy right now. It's a replaceable skin. And then you have another company called Reload that hasn't launched their paddle yet, but has been very vocal that they're doing this for like it's been in the works for like a couple of years. And so Carl had mentioned that Reload was the brand that like first approached them about this rule and what their idea was, and definitely made it sound like Reload was the brand that was kind of pushing for this and had the idea
first to think of it. And then, but like I watched the podcast with Pickle on there, and he made it sound like they were the ones really pushing the idea. And I was like, oh man, what's the real story here? Carl made it sound like Reload was the West, but Pickle was the first to market. First to market.
It's a big deal, and so they're kind of known for the skins right now. Anyway, so I did get those, and I did run some spin tests on them. So their skins, they add about a ½ ounce of weight, which is quite a bit. I think that's kind of a big factor of it. It's like it changes the playability of the paddle a decent amount and the weight of it when you slap on the skins. And so it goes over top of gridded paddle. So you buy the paddle, you play with it, the grit wears down. It's like a normal paddle, and then you put the skin on. But it actually performed better than I expected. Like the spin wasn't too far off a brand new raw carbon. I think I was getting like high 18s, like 1880 RPMs, and their original one was like 1940 or something like that.
So not a huge drop.
So yeah, not a huge drop. Like I think the viability of these skins, even with the state that they have it in now, spin wise is better than just playing with a used paddle. So I think it's really cool. Like it did perform better that way.
What does the paddle? What was the static weight like before the skins? Like, do they come in a little lighter, thinking you're gonna slap skins on it? Because I'm just thinking like if somebody has an 8.5 paddle and they slap skins on it, now they have a 9-ounce paddle.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a lot for some people.
I'm not sure. I didn't.
You didn't
think
weigh
of that. I didn't weigh it. I just looked at how much it added.
Okay.
I want to say it was just lower than 8, at least for the hurricane.
Okay, so
ones.
at least it doesn't put it like crazy high.
Yeah, like I don't think it like is so heavy that no one can use it.
Got it.
But like if you are sensitive to weight, it's definitely a factor. But no, I think it's a viable like innovation. Like I think it's cool.
Do you have a timeline on the reload?
Yeah, so dude, I talked to them months ago, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to launch like April, May-ish," and like that's.
I had a call with him too. I'm trying to remember if he told me the timeline, but I can't remember.
Yeah, if you haven't heard of Reload yet, like go look them up because this is cool.
Oh, it's super cool.
I like the way they're doing it versus the Pickle. So with Reload, you buy the paddle, and it's like a flat, like plastic surface, and then you put the sticker, and it's like a raw carbon, like texture. Like it feels like a normal raw carbon paddle, whereas Pickle is using a little something different.
Yeah.
And so it's like a normal surface. And so I met him, Troy is the guy I've been interfacing with. I met him in St. George, and he had some demos. And so we were hitting him. The paddle actually plays, like, it feels pretty good.
He told me it should play like a Gen 2 Hyperion. Like that was the feel they were going for.
Yeah, I only hit with it for like 5 minutes, but it definitely kind of, just like you said, like it felt like that Gen 2 kind of that all-court style. It was elongated. I think they're still finalizing what the construction of the paddle is going to be. Like they have a few different models they're deciding between. And then they're going to kick that out because I think the skins themselves are like done and ready to go. But I ran some spin tests. I had my gun with me while I was with Troy. And so I had like a fresh Mach 2 Forza with me, which is known for being a very spinny paddle. And then I had the Reload. It was windy that day, and so it wasn't perfect, but they were very comparable, the numbers between the Reload and the Mach 2. And so when I do get production models of them, I expect those to be pretty solid spin-wise.
It's a big deal.
And but yeah, I do like the way they're doing it, where it comes with the flat surface. Like it doesn't alter the paddle when you put the skin on. It's like a complete system. I think some of the drawbacks for that will be, I think they're only going to launch with one shape, so they won't have multiple shapes, which is kind of a bummer. And then they won't have like multiple like paddle styles. They won't have like a power, all court, and control. It just have the one model. And so if that one model doesn't fit what you want, then that's just
stuck.
That's a bummer.
How did you feel about the subscription-based model?
Yeah, so they're going to do some sort of subscription-based model. I don't know how they're going to exactly do it.
I talked to them a little. I don't know how much I'm supposed to talk about it. I talked to him a little bit about it, and I don't think they've actually concrete decided. But he talked about how, like, think about it this way: we'll give you the paddle for free. You pay for a year of faces, so $300 for 12 replaceable faces, and basically you have a new surface every month. And I'm like, when you put it that way, it actually does sound pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
as long as you love the paddle,
right? Yeah, if you're like a chronic paddle switcher, it's not going to work. I think there's pros and cons to it. Like I do like subscription models in some cases for different like products, but other times I'm like, I'd rather just pay a flat fee and just buy the grit when I need them, because sometimes I'm going to play more in 1 month than I do the next. I may not need a replacement. If they're sending me replacements every 2 months, whatever, like maybe it comes early, and I don't know.
Then you just got a stack full of faces.
Yeah, then you got a stack full of faces, and so I think there's pros and cons to it. Some people love it, some people won't. You can't win it all. I think if I was calling the shots, I don't think I'd go subscription.
I think it's good. I don't know. I like that. One, I love innovation, and I like that it's different. I want to see how it goes. I mean,
yeah,
it could be great, and then everybody's going to go to some kind of subscription based, paddle. Like they send you a new paddle. That could be the next thing. It's just a paddle subscription.
They send
you just a new paddle every.
Yeah, no one's done that.
No.
Yeah, you just get a new paddle every quarter or something, and maybe it's a little
Especially
cheaper if you purchase a year
or
in
if
advance.
it's like a paddle you love, it's like the same paddle and they like change the graphics and they send you like new paddle.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think the technology and what they're doing is really cool, and I would like place a bet that this is like the future for grit for
100%.
paddles across the board.
Yeah, I would think so too. It's going very table tennis like. I think you're going to end up having kind of some customization faces, different grit.
Put a fiberglass, put a carbon fiber.
Yeah,
like,
maybe. I mean, that'd be cool. And that was like, I remember when One Shot come out with that flip shot, because I know when I first started playing pickleball, I was like, when's somebody going to come out with like a different surface on each side? And then I remember the one shot flip shot came out.
Yeah.
It didn't do very well.
No, it didn't do
like,
Pro XR did it too, and didn't do very hot.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, that was when they had the weird handle still.
Yeah.
Super fast reloads.
Yes, so fast reload. They still have the same reload speed without that handle.
Oh, that's funny.
But no, I do think that technology is sweet. I'm excited for that paddle to come out, and it's definitely a start of like a pivotal like innovation. I think it's going to change things across the board. So that's pretty cool. But I just thought of this. So with going back to the exit velocity test. So this is a question I want to bring up when you're on the call and I'm advising you.
Okay.
So they mentioned that when they were making the scatter plot that they did test paddles like new and broken in. And but like how are they going to do that for new paddles that are getting approved? Like are they going to somehow break down the paddle and then test it again? So during the initial approving process, new paddle, we don't know how.
Okay, so we're just talking new paddle. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I was going to say as far as like pro, like testing, they're going to have to come up with some kind of mobile test too.
I mean, yeah, they're doing some sort of mobile. The deflection kind of captures that a little bit, yeah, but they're going to have to switch it from the deflection test to a velocity mobile test to really get that.
And with these paddles breaking in, it's like, do you have to test them during their pro match? Like, do you test them day one and day two?
Yeah, you got to.
It's like, no, I agree. So
I'm very curious to see how they address that because they are aware of that. They know that paddles get hotter over time as like the foam kind of changes within the core of the paddle. They also mentioned they're going to do some sort of like tear down testing sometimes with paddles to get a better idea of during the approval process. But I'm very curious to see how they address that.
It'll be interesting.
Because they are addressing it with the initial scatter plot testing and getting data, but how are they going to do that with brand new paddles? And so anyways, that'll a lot of really interesting stuff. Really excited to hop on that meeting and see what they say. All right, dude. Hit us with some of the funny hot topics from this week.
Well, let's at least bring up the one topic from last week because I missed it.
Okay.
Did you watch Zane use the spin serve against Alshon twice and get away with it?
Yeah, I think I saw it. Did Memes post it?
I think Memes posted it.
Yeah, I saw it on there.
I was dying. Like blatant spin serve. And even Alshon's like,
what's going on? Yeah.
And the ref didn't call it.
Yeah, when you watch it, he's literally like tossing it up. He's spinning. Like there's so many rules he broke.
Yeah, he broke like every rule to do the spin serve. I was dying.
I think it's hilarious that he even like attempted it. It seems like something Zane would do.
No, I think he talked about it. He's like, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Like, or if you don't get called on it, it's not cheating. Something like that. I'm like, that's awesome.
Oh yeah,
that was funny.
That was really funny.
This week we had a lot of funny stuff. Let's start with the hot mic. So grandstand court.
We had a long talk about this one.
Grandstand court. The match hadn't started yet, so it had the waiting. I noticed this because Memes put it up. Memes put it up first, and I was like, oh my god. And then basically there was a hot mic during the waiting to start the match. That some stuff's. We'll get to that part.
So hot mic meaning they didn't think the mic was running.
Think the mic was running.
The video was on.
It was just a graphic.
It was just a graphic.
Yeah, like basically grandstand court.
It's supposed to be like a commercial.
Correct.
Right? Like no sound, just wait to start.
So Memes posted it, but then Memes took it down like very quickly. And I'm like, oh man. So I ran to YouTube, downloaded, like screen recorded the video, voice isolated it. Because there's actually a lot, like Memes is doing a good job because I didn't realize how much background music was played during that. So I had to run it through like an AI voice isolator, get the voice out. And it's Rafa and Olivia McMillan, both pros.
Oh, is she just a pro?
She's a pro.
She was like guest commentating?
Yeah. Well, I think they're both guest commentating. But there's just some very offensive stuff that's said.
A lot of like sexual innuendos.
Yeah, there are a lot of sexual innuendos, which was one thing. I was like, okay, that's like, my wife would murder me.
Yeah, this was not a good look for Rafa.
Not a good look at all. Then drug use is brought up. And I was like, how many things can get brought up in one hot mic? So he on the mic says, I hope you guys didn't take your Adderall too early. Then he repeats it too. He doesn't even say it once. He says it twice.
Like Adderall's been brought up before. And
we just talked about drugs.
Yeah. And like this is a substance that is banned in the NFL, MLB, NBA as a performance enhancing drug, known for like giving you extra focus.
Like, extreme focus.
And so players have been accused of, there's been like rumors of players using it, and this just like
to me
solidified.
Oh yeah, I was like, that wasn't a joke.
No,
like there's no way. Like he said it twice. It wasn't a joke.
I don't think so.
So that kind of confirms what we had talked about the other week with the drugs. So yeah, I posted that on my Instagram if you guys want to watch that hot mic, because I think Big Pickle made memes take it down. But I'm a nobody, so they're not going to make me take it down. Nobody reached out to me.
You said you got a decent amount of like shares and stuff.
Oh, it's got a ton of shares, but yeah.
But yeah, that was really unfortunate for Rafa. Like, not just unfortunate, like it was really, really bad luck for him. Like the guy,
I like Rafa too.
I did like Rafa, and like he's married, he has 3 kids, and he was like making these comments that were very offensive, and like.
To a young girl. Yeah.
Like,
I don't think Olivia's very old.
Really inappropriate stuff, and it made me pretty grumpy. Like, there was enough grounds to get fired at any company for sexual misconduct
anywhere.
And yeah, it was pretty bad.
And it didn't even get addressed. And they didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, like I felt so bad for Olivia.
Yeah,
like she was like laughing, but
didn't it seem like it was almost like an awkward laugh?
Yeah, like she was kind of like just like going along with it. She didn't sure to say, and I was like, oh man, like that's such a awkward, tough position for her to be in. And anyways, it wasn't cool.
It was awkward. Then we had some paddles failing at APP Cincinnati.
Yeah, nothing new there.
Some Vatic pros.
What did you see about that? I guess I didn't really see any information on this.
Well, I don't think they talked about it, but I heard that a few of the new paddles failed.
You got this in your Discord underground?
Maybe. I can't disclose all my sources for this one, but
okay.
But yeah,
which is a concern, right? Like,
but that was a concern anyway. We saw. Chris was having some issues with his, and I think that's going to happen where everybody's pushing the limit right now. So it's like I can't really fault. I'm sure nobody's creating a paddle that they want to fail.
You're right,
but everybody's pushing what they can get out of a paddle.
Yeah, they're trying to work within the rules to get as hot as they can. And it's
just a bummer. Like if you're a pro and you show up and your paddles fail, like I'd be bummed.
Yeah,
unless I altered it.
That's
myself.
The paddle you're playing with and practicing.
Yeah,
and you have to switch right before that would.
Yeah,
that would suck. But yeah,
so
they'll figure it out. Like Vatic, they're not trying to break the rules.
No, I don't think so either.
They're messing with some new
I don't
tech
think Yola's trying to break
the.
I don't think anybody's trying to break. Like I don't think anybody's intentionally trying to exceed the rules. I just think they're so close to that line that it's happening. QC, like not every paddle's the same. So
right.
Then we had, speaking of failing paddles, Major League Pickleball. A paddle was failed for a substance that was applied to the paddle before.
Are we not allowed to say it?
Well, everybody is saying it was pine tar.
Oh, but you don't actually know?
No, well, MLP hasn't made an official announcement.
But MLP did make an official announcement that there was a paddle that failed that was being altered with a substance being added.
Yes.
Like a coating of something.
Coating something to the face.
This is the first time this has happened, I think.
First time I've heard of it. And the talk is that it's pine tar. The player's Andre, which makes me sad. I really like Andre. But then I did dig up like some photos of him, and his paddle is weirdly brown in comparison to like other people's protons.
Yeah, I wonder if he just tried it for this tournament, or if this happened in like, or if he got away with it in other tournaments, because obviously they caught him. And when I feel like they would, and that's the thing, like they do that touch test, but then you felt a proton. They're weirdly sticky anyway, so like the ref might have just been like, oh, it's a sticky paddle. Yeah, maybe.
But so that happened.
Yeah, like that was kind of an interesting story that someone, like that's the first time I've heard somebody trying to alter the face that. But
I've thought about it.
I don't know if he actually played with one, did he?
Well, I don't think he made it on the court with that one, no.
Okay. But like I'm talking about like in the past, like has he been getting away? Like has he been doing this for a while?
Do we know? That's all speculation.
You don't know? Like did he beat the Johns with a pine tar paddle?
Ooh. That would be bad if he did.
I hope not.
I have thought about putting spray tack, like just in rec play, just like get like a old fiberglass, like old Selkirk, spray it with like spray tack and see how it goes.
Yeah, I've never even tried that.
That would be fun. But that's it for all the drama this weekend. It was a fun weekend, though. Fun weekend. Good news, though. Simone, she's got that dog in her. She won singles and women's.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like,
good for her.
We all thought she was done. She's still out there playing singles. That Gen 3 brought life back in her.
Yeah, good for her. I was happy to see that.
That was
her.
cool.
Yeah. We had Cincy this week, and then there was the MLP. Did you watch much of MLP?
So I watched the first day of MLP, and then I was like dancing between APP and MLP. I don't know if I like the new rule changes with MLP. Did you watch?
Yeah, I did.
How do you feel about no freeze?
I wasn't a fan of the no freeze. So previously it was a game to 21, first team to 20, freezes at 20. The following team will then freeze at 17, meaning you could only score on your serve and it's no more rally scoring. This time it was just pure rally scoring, no freezes.
And you don't even have to
first
have
to 25.
don't even have to have the serve to win.
Don't have to have the serve to win.
And that's the thing. I mean, I guess it's still kind of a freeze, but like I'd be okay with like you still having to win while you're serving. Like it's weird to not win while you're serving.
Yeah, it makes comebacks super hard. Like you basically just have to win 2 or 3 points off your serve throughout the match, and then just trade.
Yep.
And you win.
And you win.
And yeah, comebacks were rare. It's really tough. And so Julian Arnold actually made a comment about it. Did you see?
I didn't see it.
It was actually pretty good. Like
He probably blocked me. After
I actually liked his take. His suggestion was to freeze the entire score once somebody reaches 24. So say you're 9.
Okay.
And I reach 24, both teams freeze.
And it becomes
And
regular.
it just becomes regular, only can score on your serve. And I was like, that seems fair. Then you're rewarded for getting to 24 first,
Yep.
which is a big deal.
Yeah.
And you're not, and then it makes comebacks more like possible.
I like that.
And I thought that kind of like got to what they were trying to do of like making things fast. You know, I don't even know what was the point. Like, what were they trying to accomplish?
I think it's all. I mean, I think all of those rules are put in place because of television, kind of like, so everything's predictable.
Anyways, yeah, I liked his take on it, and like it was fine. But yeah, I do think the freeze makes it more interesting. Then, like this was like a regular season event. There was no prize money. I don't think there was no. This was just like get seeded.
It was still fun.
Like it's like a regular season style.
It was still fun to watch, but
yeah, but it was a little different that way. And so yeah, I think next round or whatever, next event, it'll be. I think it's gonna get more fun as we go on because now we're gonna have rankings. Like okay, this team's number 1 versus team number 4, and
then we have not all the teams in each one. Like I think Annalee's team's not playing until like the middle of the season now. The next time, that's what somebody said.
She was playing.
So, no, she played. Yeah, she played in this one. But I heard that the next time her team plays is not till like the middle of the season.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So not every team is going to be at every MLP.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, but I imagine it'll all be the same.
I think
by
so
the
at
end of
the
the
end.
season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think it'll be more fun to watch, more like at stake as the season goes on. Now that we're getting like everyone's positioned and we can kind of see who's good, who's not, and different. It'll be more fun to talk about that way. And then as you know, like every other sport, right, with a league, like the games get more weight on who, depending on who you're playing to get ranks for the final tournament because only so many teams will get through. Yeah. And things like that for like the final,
the super finals,
and stuff at the end of the season.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll be fun to kind of follow that as it goes. I think it's gonna get, and I kind of like that format.
I do want to go to the Salt Lake one just because it's so close.
Oh yeah, I'm totally gonna go watch.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll do our podcast live during it.
Yeah, let's go. We'll bring.
We'll see if we can sit next to like Travis Repmeyer if they're doing theirs too.
Just go park right next to him.
Podcast battle got brought up. Somebody in King of the Courts Discord was like, I guess they went and like stalked me on Instagram. They were like, "You would wreck Jimmy in pickleball." I was like, "Well, that was random."
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I need to bring that back up with people. Like, see if we can make that happen.
Podcast battle
kind of died off a little bit.
Or the reviewer battle.
All right, let's. I want to finish off with some with Paddletek.
Battle.
Yeah, some Paddle Babble. So I want to talk about Paddletek and then just some upcoming reviews for the last 10 minutes here. So just released a review on Paddletek. All my like power. This is for the new Christian Alshon series. So these are elongated. They have a 14.3, 12.7 model. Then they have a couple like handle length models. They have like a CX that's 5.7 inches. And then another one that's 5.3. So anyways, they released these paddles, and my power tests and pop were putting them like really close to these Gen 3 foam style paddles. So these things are juicy. These things are bigger power paddles. But what's remarkable about these is the technology is so basic. Like there's no thermoforming, no foam,
no nothing.
And like Paddletek has never been known for being the most innovative company. Like I think it's hilarious that they're just now putting raw carbon across their line. It seems like they introduced raw carbon on their their NLE paddles, and they're like, oh wow, people like this.
Let's come out with a new line.
Let's put this on everything. Like it took them 3 years.
Yeah,
they were
so late to the game.
And then they also fixed the handles on these new TKO paddles.
What'd the old ones feel like?
So the old ones, they had the exposed polymer, had like that nipple butt cap that was just so uncomfortable.
See, I've never played with the Paddletech till these. So
yeah, and so this is actually the exact same paddle as same core they've been using in their Bantam series.
Okay.
Like the only thing they changed is like the face, and they fixed up the handle. But now that it's like and they never really pushed these, or like it was hard getting hold of Paddletech paddles in the past. And so like this is they sent them to me before, but I was like, the spin's it's just not there.
Not there.
It just wasn't. You just couldn't do enough with it, and they kind of have a harsher feel to them. But now, like in the light of all these like challenges we're seeing with these Gen 3 paddles and thermoforming with the core crush and foam expansion, all these things, all of a sudden this really simple technology is like better technology because it's just less susceptible to breaking down on you, at least like the core.
Yeah, the only issue is we'll see how long the edge guards stay. I mean, that's the only.
Yeah, so you still have then it gives us like the original issues.
Yeah, exactly, the original problems
of like the edge guard staying on, potentially the handle breaking. But I do think those are less frequent and less of an issue and also like of a deal than like the core crushing stuff is. And so the fact that they haven't been innovating is like now all of a sudden an advantage for them.
Yeah,
it's just kind of just luck of the draw, really. But they're hot. They play fast. They're surprisingly stable.
I was gonna say
and like
pretty consistent.
They're generating quite a bit of buzz.
Yeah,
and like I'm part of it. Like I think
I'm talking about getting them in here. So
in Flying Pickle?
In Flying Pickle, yeah. No, I was like, I told him, I was like, Paul, these new Paddletechs, like these will do well. They're good.
Yeah, so like
maybe one or two models, not too many, but
yeah, but yeah, I think they really have something special there just because of the fact that they are so simple, yet they're still generating the power people are seeking. They do have kind of a unique feel to them. Like whatever they did to the cores, it's got to be some sort of different polymer because it does feel different than like a traditional paddle, and so you kind of have to get used to that. But yeah, the paddles are hot. They play well. The handles are nice. They just like fix all those little things that you want to be right in an expensive paddle. Because like I don't want to go spend $200 on a paddle where like the little stuff, like the handle doesn't feel comfortable. There's like stuff that
one side of your face is grittier than the other.
Well, having no grit. Anyway, so like they fix all these little things. They got the raw carbon fiber. It's made in the U.S. Has a lifetime warranty, so it has kind of these little perks. And but anyways, yeah, I think the lack of technology is like the draw to these.
Oh, it's almost like it's like retro's coming back.
Yeah,
it's good. I like it.
And anyways, I'm on the hunt for a new paddle, looking for something with a little more power, and I'm going to keep the 14.3 elongated or TKO in the paddle. I'm going to keep playing with it.
So I was actually thinking about playing with it this weekend.
Oh, really?
In the NAMI tournament. I mean, what paddle are you playing with this weekend?
Yeah, I'm gonna use it again.
Oh, so maybe we'll play against each other with the same paddle.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that one for a minute and see if it kind of ends up being the one. But they also introduced their Tempest line. So these are control paddles. These are 15 millimeters. They also fixed the handles on these. But like the control space, like these aren't fancier tech either. But like I feel like in the control space, there's a lot of really good, less expensive control paddles. Yep. And so I was like, I don't like these anymore.
No, you could do way better for your money.
Yeah. Unless you're like a huge Paddletech fan.
Well, no, that's another thing. The USA made. There is some people that are like that, like they're diehard, like it's made in the US. So
yeah, if that's the case, yeah, sure, go get it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there's a lot of really good control paddles. I didn't think, like, it didn't stand out to me. I actually didn't think it was quite as stable as other control paddles out there. And I was like, I don't think I would recommend these too often, but I would recommend their TKO Bantam paddles because I think those are.
I haven't tried the
those are
I haven't tried the
solid.
Bantam yet. They just sent me the Bantams.
Well, that's the Alshon one.
I mean the
Bantams.
ALWs.
Oh, right.
They just sent me the ALWs. Have you swung those yet?
Yeah, so I did like a little short review of the 14.3. I wasn't crazy about it. It's just like it's so light. You don't get the same power as you do with these other ones.
The handle to me feels really short.
The handle's so short.
Okay.
It's still, at least the one they sent me had like the exposed polymer and like that bubble butt cap. And it was just like, this wasn't.
It does have the bubble butt cap.
It does
You're right.
still?
Okay, yeah.
You
Well,
know
I don't know.
what I'm
So I must not have the new ones. They must have sent me whatever. Is there new ones?
I think they're going to update the handles of the ALWCs, but right now I don't think they do.
'cause
I guess Annalie likes it.
Well, no, I did notice that. I was like, this is kind of weird at the bottom.
Yeah,
It
it's like-
just felt like short, and you're right. It kind of feels like a weird like nipple on the bottom.
Yeah, it's like it's round. It's not like the hexagon feeling. Yeah. Anyways, so I wasn't crazy on the 14.3. The 12.7, however, still has some good power. It has like a really unique combination of being super lightweight and pretty poppy. And like I think, and for some reason that one didn't have the exposed polymer. I don't know why, but that one I think is better than their 14.3. I wasn't crazy about the 14.3 in the standard, but. Anyways, go watch that review. And did you have any? So you had the paddles too, like
they
you
sent
said.
me-
What was your take on?
I mean, the Alshon. What was funny is like the first time I tried the Alshon paddle was just drilling, just dinking. I was like, yeah, it's okay. But then I played like a real game, and I was like, holy smokes, like this paddle rips. Like, because I didn't even hit a hard ball the first morning I used it. Like we just dinked, and then I played a game here the other day, and then I was like, all right, and like
Yeah, it's there.
even the guy in front of me was like, I'm glad I'm wearing eye protection because the ball was coming off hot. So no, it was fun. It's solid. I mean, the shape is. I mean, he comes from the 18K anyway, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's familiar. I like it. They did a good job.
Yeah, so Paddletek's coming back. All right, and then upcoming reviews. So Selkirk Amped Pro Air is coming out.
They sent you some?
Yeah, so I got the Invicta and the Epic in that one.
That's cool. They won't even email me back.
Yeah, Selkirk's probably one of the trickier brands. Like they're just so big now.
Yeah.
Like the bigger brands are harder to work with. Like I was actually surprised we were able to create relationships with like Head and Babble. And Rose emailed us. She said she's coming to town.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you get that?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're gonna go to,
Are we going to go to breakfast with her?
yeah, I told her I'd be down.
Okay, cool.
So if you wanted to do that,
Yeah.
we're gonna go sit down, eat some breakfast or lunch with Rose over there at Babble. But yeah, like it's they're a little trickier to get in touch with. But anyways, yeah, that's coming out. So I'm gonna do a review of those next because everyone wants.
So the Amped Air, and then is that the same as the Pro Air, or is that a different paddle?
like
Because they showed one that said Pro Air.
that's the same thing as this
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it might be called Amped Pro Air.
Oh, Amped Pro
Maybe
Air.
that's
okay.
the official name.
Maybe I didn't see the Amped on one of them. I swear I saw one that just said like Pro Air, like nothing in front of it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so that one's coming up, and then I just got the Sparrows Apollo. You did too. Did you get the J2K from Honolulu?
No, I can't remember if they said they were going to send me one or not, but the Apollo, 108 swing weight?
Yeah, super
I played
light.
with it the other day. I played with it at the Duper Day.
Oh, what'd you think?
Yeah. Resets really well. Tons of spin. Like I hit some disgusting drops with it.
It's so pretty.
But I need to weight it up. I need a little more power. I didn't have a ton of put away, but it's super fun to play with. It's a paddle for the price because I think it's like
It's really
I
cheap.
think it's like 118 with like somebody's ambassador code.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
one I would recommend to somebody that's looking for, like a forgiving wide paddle.
Yeah, it seems like a really good value.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of had the same thoughts. Like it was really light. Like when I did my power test, it was coming in definitely on the lower
Was it
side.
on the lower side? Oh, you already tested it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's definitely lower, but I think partly just because it's so
What
light.
was the spin?
It was actually not as big as
Man.
I thought it was.
Maybe
gonna
I
be.
just caught a few good ones because I had a few drops that I was like, whoa.
I need to go. I haven't averaged it out, but I think it was. I was like, it felt good. Like
Yeah.
you just don't know until you see the numbers.
No,
because
yeah.
like your perception of like feeling it, you're like, oh, this could be good spin, and you just think it's good spin.
Exactly. The RPMs don't match like the feeling of the
Yeah.
surface.
So like, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like anything
Off the
crazy.
charts.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one's coming out. The J2K from Honolulu. A lot of people have reached out to me about this one.
Yeah, no,
asking about it.
they were all in the comments. That's why I reached out to them. Hey, let me get a paddle. And
Are they sending you one?
I don't know
You
if
don't
they
know?
respond. I have to go back and look.
When we play Friday, I'll bring
They
that
might
one out.
They might have just said try Braydon's.
And then the 6-0 Willinator
Triple black diamond.
just came in yesterday. So that one's getting released in like a week. So that one's going to come out really soon. I won't have a review ready because I'm working on the Selkirk one, but I'll try to put something short about that. But yeah, still a lot of paddles in. And the Shogun.
My Shogun gets here tomorrow.
I saw it.
Are you getting one too?
Yeah, I'm getting one too.
Is it coming tomorrow?
I think so.
Idaho's so far away. Everybody else got there. Come on, Doug. Give us faster shipping.
Doug's in where
Florida.
is he? He's in Florida. Is that where they ship everything from?
Vero Beach? Yeah, Florida, yeah. So it comes from Florida. Takes forever to get to Idaho.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to see that pop up on people's socials.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, I want one.
I know.
And then I wanted to bring up the librarian. Ball.
All right.
So this is Gamma. They came out with like a kind of like a foam ball.
It's a foam ball.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I bought it. It was very expensive. I think it was like $30 for 3.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, Gamma's also somebody who hasn't ever responded to any of my messages, which is cool. So I bought them because I was like, man, I want to try it. It's actually really fun.
What's it made out of? Like, what's it?
It's like a high density foam. It squishes. It's not as quiet as you would think, like against a wall, because everybody's like, oh, I'll be able to do it in my apartment. I posted a video. Like, it still thuds.
It's dense enough.
Yeah, it thuds against your wall. So it's not like, I wouldn't do it in an apartment complex. Your neighbors would probably murder you. But like, I played with it here at Flying Pickle.
Like just normal game,
normal
courts.
Yeah, played a normal game. It's in an indoor facility. You can't hear it because the ambient noise is so loud. So I didn't like that because I don't like not being able to hear it.
But that was the idea of it though, right?
Well, I think outdoors you would still hear it a little bit. I mean, I think our brains tie pace to the sound a little bit. So it was weird to not hear it at all.
Yeah.
But like dinking, it actually felt almost true, a little bouncy, more like kind of like a jugs ball, like an older, or like the soft.
There's no
ball.
Holes, right? Like it's just a solid ball.
Just a solid ball. I will say, you can put like spin affects it way more than a regular ball. So like you can do some really funky stuff with it.
Oh, like you think it spins more?
I don't know if it spins more or if the fact that it doesn't have holes, it just like the aerodynamics is not as good. So like the ball moves, like imagine like a knuckleball getting hit at you more. The ball will do some weird stuff in the air if you put a lot of spin on it, but you can still have a lot of fun with it. It's definitely not the same.
Yeah, so I'm just looking it up on their website. It looks like they're advertising it as being a ball meant for like
quiet communities.
Yeah, not for like indoor, like off your wall.
No. And honestly, like if you want to play the game of pickleball quietly, it's 100% a viable option. 4-0 plus players, no. Like we were just hitting some funny.
It doesn't play similar enough to a regular ball.
I did say like if we did like an all librarian ball tournament, like that would be hilarious and like a ton of fun. So Gamma, if you want to provide some balls, maybe we can make that happen. I'd have to take out a 401k to get enough balls for a tournament.
They're $22 for a 6-pack.
Yeah, so is that before shipping?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, they don't ship for free, buddy.
Cool,
I was gonna say I know I paid like $30.
Shit, these two be.
So, but
they've been on Ball Craze. They released their Chuck, which we tested.
And it was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was kind of on par with. Yeah. I think it was a little faster, but still got wobbly a little bit.
The cliche, a little faster than a Franklin, not as fast as a Dura.
And it probably was. A lot of balls fall under that.
It was great.
But yeah, that's the librarian.
Yeah, librarian.
I'm going to have to...
I'm a fan of...
I'll buy one off you. I'll give you $8 for one ball.
I'm a fan of innovation. So like if you come out with something that's like interesting, I want to try it. I mean, whether it sucks or not. And it doesn't suck. Like that's the thing. I thought it was going to totally suck. It doesn't suck. It's fun. But it's not like a viable option to be like, you can't train with it. But
it's just those scenarios where you're in a quiet community, just use that ball.
Yeah. But my outside though, like how dirty is it going to get? Like I need to play with it outside because I think it's going to get disgusting.
We talked about how the acoustic skins could be used for that same scenario.
And I would rather do that and use a traditional ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I wonder if it'd play more normal with the acoustic skin versus the foam ball. Mm-hmm. And based off your description, it sounds like that might be the case. I think so.
Yeah, because the spin affects it. Like, imagine like old school spin serves. Like people were able to put that kind of spin on like normal shots.
Cool. I'll have to try it out. But there you go. That's the Gamma Librarian.
That's the librarian.
What a clever name, though.
I know.
I thought it was great. Like the Chuck, I thought was a great name for the ball. They kicking butt that way. But there you go. I think that's everything we have. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next week.
We'll do this again next week.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.